DZ is one map away from being the major champions. Yes, I know. It's been a while since we've seen you. Cafe wrapped up about an hour ago or thereabouts. It was 7-4 in favor of DarkZero. They'll ban Ash, targeting Merc, of all people. Let's get into it. Map number 3.
You know, Parker, I gotta say, and I know I don't want to linger too much on the update because we got a match right in front of us, but we're going to use this ban phase to talk about this. We're about to see this plus I guess the European major are bound to be the last of this kind of Siege, because I will say that this update to Siege looks like it's going to completely change most things. And we're definitely in the middle of an era shift. So let's savor the sweet taste of this match as we can, and we'll get the most out of it. Hopefully, maybe we can get some more maps, but we'll see. DarkZero looked pretty dominant in map number 1, and considering they're already up 2 maps with that 1 map advantage coming in from the upper bracket, this could be over quite quickly.
With the way that DZ has been playing this weekend, I wouldn't be surprised if it is, but I mean, I don't really want to get too ahead of ourselves here.
Of course not.
The vibe of that first map, and I don't know if you'd agree with me, I guess technically it's map 2, but the vibe of that cafe map, Michael, was it sure seemed like TSM after that first half was in the driver's seat. I am aware that it is it's a defender-sided map, yada yada yada. But after those 2 clutches that came out from DarkZero, it certainly felt like the mood shifted. And with it, I mean, who knows? There's been a bit of a lengthy break right now, so any momentum that DZ might have had could have possibly cooled off. But for a team that is as methodical as they are, and as a team that is as cerebral as they are, I strongly believe that they took this downtime to prep for Oregon, and I think it's obviously going to benefit DarkZero quite a lot.
10 seconds left before insertion.
We've been seeing at this tournament DZ in their stride. Now, there's a lot of speculation as to what that is or why it is. There's a lot of conversation, what changed for DZ. And again, for me, it seems like they just became more self-assured, more aware of their own capabilities, and more confident in the plays that they make, and it's working out great for them. They aren't shaking nearly as much as they normally do. We've seen DZ go down a few rounds and just completely fall asleep. Not so through this tournament. Whatever it is that's going on behind the scenes that's enabling them to play the way that they are, the only thing that you can hope for as a DZ fan is that they keep that up, because we've seen amazing DZ before, and we've seen them falter off that, the top of that pedestal. So the consistency is going to be the main, I think, judgment here. And if DZ is given an opportunity to lock this finals out with this last map, if they take that, then we're going to have to wait an awful long time to see that kind of DZ again.
I agree. This is TSM's map. So we'll come on to Oregon now and see exactly how it shapes up. As, no surprise, it's a downstairs defense. Oregon still has that 1A, 1B style of bomb site defenses that you see. Some teams will go down to laundry, supply rooms. Some teams will decide to start up at the double dorms upstairs. They're both quite strong, and it depends on how you're going to play it. For DarkZero, this is very much an intel denying style of lineup. The denial that's going to come out is going to be in the hands of Jaeger in terms of gadgetry, but the rest will be information that is withheld from the attackers, and that'll be Hyper, Mint, and Eclipse all working together as the trio of Mozzie, Mute, and Vigil will do an excellent amount of work at making sure that the drone work and the job of the droners is hindered as best as possible. And Mint will go sight unseen and take out Bolo, and now another 2 for Mint. As he's inside a meeting hall by the sandbags. No sandbagging from DZ. He'll scoot off over towards the kitchen. 2 opening picks. And Mint manages to exchange 95 HP for 2 very important targets.
Yeah, that's your Thatcher and your Zofia. And Thatcher is still able to destroy those gadgets fully. So that's a pretty big pick there. I'm amazed that Mint was allowed to get that prone peek. He might even get a 3rd as someone crosses right in front of him. He'll do, I think, some work there. Hard to tell, but he at least forces someone back. Or no, pardon me, that was a defender. I am delusional. TSM are fully focused right now on the bunker pillar take. This is not going to be easy to pull off. You've got Hot and Cold playing in a corner by Small. Good rotations, and hallway control is firmly in favor of DZ thanks to this shield. Small will get opened up. That forces the aggression out of Hot and Cold, and he dies to a nade from Achieve, who predicts that aggression correctly. Nade goes deep into the hallway, likely to get the shield, and it gets its second kill. Achieved on a roll here, but he's alone now, and DZ will clean things up. DarkZero, a big first round on Oregon.
Good performance, as you expect from the defense on this map, and Pillars is a very strong position to hold. If you're going to stack up Wamais, or if you're going to stack up Jaeger devices over in that area, your utility dump from the attackers is going to have to be on point. Now, obviously, one of the most utility-heavy operators that you're going to see present from the attackers, Zofia, was killed very early in an engagement that happened with Mint inside of meeting. Doesn't really matter, though, because there wasn't a Wamai on the board. Like I said, the focus of DarkZero on that round was to try and kill as much time and as much intel from TSM and force them to commit to fights where they don't know the positioning of their opponents. And it seemed to work quite well, especially when the final 20 seconds were on the clock and TSM got 2 picks. They equalized back to a 3v3, as you saw Bolo and Merc die earlier. They were avenged, largely because of the single play from Achieved, who went fishing with those frag grenades and was very good at that. But they didn't have any wherewithal in regards to the anchors, and that was very evident. So when TSM tried to push into the site, there was, with 30 seconds left, a bunch of noise being made as Eclipse created a rotate into laundry room from that from the closet. And I think that was a good call from DarkZero. It allowed them a little bit more breathing room. They knew that they weren't going to get pushed from laundry stairs. They had to worry about the Pillars take, which is oh so common. They had to worry about maybe losing Pillbox. And it got opened up very late for TSM. And then TSM tried to take gunfights, but like I said, they had no intel. They had no idea. And DarkZero, understanding where the push was coming from, they made the adjustments that they needed to fall back far enough so that their lines of sight were superior to those of TSM on the doorways that TSM was going to be coming through. With that, round number 1 goes to DarkZero. This is something a little strange, though. Dining hall and kitchen is oftentimes seen as the least played bomb site on Oregon, and yet it's going to be the scene for the second defense of DarkZero. What do you think the thinking is behind this?
Well, they clearly have a pocket strategy for this. You can see their setup is a little bit different than you might expect. They're playing very far back. They're definitely focusing on control by lockers, which is normal. That part's normal. The rotations are the odd bits, what's open, what's closed. DZ has like a very specific setup here. That shield in the hallway is going to be super essential to the hold, in my opinion. Mint is able to support Hot and Cold a lot, and as such, Hot and Cold is able to hold the site. If this shield is dealt with, it's going to be very hard for DZ to hold on to this position. There's one ADS there, and obviously, since Hot and Cold is Wamai, he can throw his magnets into the hallway to support the shield. ADS clear successful in lockers, though. So the Wamai's magnets already being overwhelmed, and he's going to have to start throwing them inside of lockers. Wall gets opened up. This position is going to become much more difficult to hold in a second, but at least he's got the shield. Nitro goes out, and nobody there. But Mint, is he? He might have been able to get a pick there had he committed, but he doesn't fully commit. You know, fall back to play it safe.
I think that was the right call from Mint. At best, he's going to get traded out because he's going to have the SMG-11 and get turned on from the 2 players from TSM just by the doorway. Speaking of getting turned on, Hot and Cold does from Bolo, who had been doing some drone work earlier. Geo falls, but Bolo's just going to charge right on in and manage to avoid the grenade that blows up right next to him. Geo finished off from Skies, and this angle being held from Bolo here will likely go without anybody on DarkZero seeing. He finds one, but gets shut down immediately by Mint, still playing off of the shield over by Showers. A minute to go. 4 casualties so far, 2 apiece. Mint low on HP, and utility dump going on towards Mint's position. Pushed off of that deployable shield with a default camera still up. So that will be something that DZ will be able to be playing off of. Skies and Hot and Cold likely making the calls. There's not going to be a ton of intel. Eclipse has Mint's back, but he gets taken out by Achieved as this is an aggressive play from the Sledge. The pace of this round just does not seem to abate whatsoever. It's down to a 2v2, but this mirror window will be a significant challenge that Hyper will be playing off of. TSM will have to wrestle with that. Down goes one of those Goyo shields in front of his very eyes. Eclipse retreating towards White Stairs, waiting for somebody to fall back. A couple shots in the leg, so it's going to be even more challenging for Hyper. He swings out and manages to get one. Pistol through the wall, and DZ cleans up. Hyper and Eclipse, they're in a 2v2, becomes a 2v0, and it's 2-0 for DZ.
Love it from both teams. Neither TSM nor DZ let go of that round. You can see there were many opportunities that weren't seized upon. There were many chances that were seized upon, and it was constant back and forth. The thing that you love to see the most. The thing that was most evident throughout, again, was the fact that TSM stayed fully engaged. They knew what they wanted to do, and they committed bodies, they committed lives to accomplishing their goal. DZ, same thing. And there was always another player, except for that very first engagement. The Wamai peeking over the shield, very dangerous. Nobody support him, nobody to get the refrag, and nobody even tried to. That ultimately was why Locker's control was lost so quickly on, or so early on. That could have been a little bit smoother for DZ, that's for sure. But they won in the end, and really that's all that matters. Hyper played a big role in that, if in nothing else, from the pressure that he was able to put out in the hallway. He prevented a push in the hall, which would have flanked the Mira inside of Kitchen. So that's a really important play there. Or not the Mira, rather, the Goyo. That's a really important play for the Jaeger in the hall. And Hyper, great job to him. He also managed to get the refrag on his teammate. Now, overall, team effort for DZ. And some amazing play from both teams so far. It seems like the defense has just been able to edge out the attack every round though so far. We're only 2 in, and these have been close rounds, so there's time for that to change.
I do like that DZ got a semi-problematic bomb site out of the way though.
True.
We talked about it a little bit at the start of that round, how, okay, well, the Kitchen is, I guess it's called, like, I guess you'd be the Apex. Because you've got
basement.
meeting, and then you've also got a dining/mess hall, and then the kitchen bomb site is going to stay standard. You're going to play around it very differently, obviously, and the way that DZ tackled it was they didn't worry about any meeting takes, and, TSM didn't bother for the meeting side of things. This will probably not be the case now. As we look towards round number 3, it's a defense upstairs of the double dorms, and this is nothing too surprising. Nitro cell in. This is mint. This is a rough go, and he gets Chala. What a toss. Prepped and ready. And like that, 1 minute in, DZ finds themselves with the opening pick here on round number 3.
Okay, so once again, I want to bring up something that's been talked about, or that I talked about last time we saw DZ and TSM play. Nobody expects DZ to be aggro on defense, and they've been doing that this entire major. They take any kind of opportunity they can to get an early pick. They just go for it. Hyper's playing a trophy right now. People expect Hyper to be chilling in the site with the rest of his team, not to be extended into trophy. People don't expect anyone to push up to Attic to C4 that wall. Not on DZ. That C4 is a common C4. That is a very sensible and common C4 that we've seen a lot of. Yes, but you don't expect it out of DZ. And it's working so well for them that they're doing it. This C4 likely will land on the ceiling fan, I want to say. But the goal of that C4 is to kill the Thermite as he attempts to open up the master closet wall. We'll see if that works. But I think the intentions might be kind of clear here, and Gio's not going for it right now.
Stat that you'll see on your screen says, despite being behind in the match, TSM is winning the opening duel battles 7-6 thus far. They didn't this round. Bolo gets Hyper, so back to a 4v4 we go. Hyper taken out at the bottom of White Stairs. He's got Hot and Cold nearby, so DZ has not completely lost that control that they need when the push should happen. And Hot and Cold will also have a Nitro Cell in hand, so he's very ready. And you can see the entire roof above him / floor, whatever you want to call it, is very much like Swiss cheese. He's going to be able to play through it. I don't know if he gets caught. Oh, he sees Achieve, takes him out, but then refragged immediately by Bolo, who will now ascend the White Stairs, realizing that there isn't much time left to work with. He'll get smoked off and just push right in to the shotgun blast of Eclipse. And DZ, a flawless play off of the execute from TSM, reads them like a book. DarkZero are up 3-0 here on Oregon. This might end up being much quicker than we'd expected, Michael.
This is a profoundly impressive performance for both squads, and I know that's deceptive. I know many are probably saying TSM throw or TSM sucks right now, or something along those lines, something to that same effect. But really, my main observation from TSM throughout these rounds has been they are not relenting. They are clearly identifying the problems and maneuvering their chess pieces to appropriately face those problems. For example, the roam downstairs. TSM knows they cannot push in when there are roamers downstairs because the C4s from below will be crippling and will pick off far too many players, and the actual engagements won't go their TSM's favor because they don't have enough manpower. TSM knows they can't open up the closet wall because they are aware of the C4 that's being ready to, or that is ready to be thrown by the mute in sight. They know they don't have time to dislodge the mute because there's only 40 seconds left in the round, so they decide to maneuver their attack completely. You know, TSM is adapting to DarkZero every step of the way and almost making it work many of these times. But what you brought up earlier, and what I will reiterate now, is key here. TSM is adapting to DarkZero. The way that DarkZero is playing, where they put their best foot forward, where they take assertive control of everything that's happening, and they don't let their enemy have a word in, or get a word in edgewise. The way that is transpiring, it certainly seems like TSM isn't able to play their own game, and I think that they are feeling stifled.
Stifling is the word that was used earlier on Cafe, actually, to describe DarkZero, and I think it's very apt here. So I'm glad that you used it as well, because it's like this smothering, slow crushing, like a boa constrictor, just getting tighter and tighter as it seems to go on. Now, obviously, we can look like fools if things change very quickly, and they very well may. I mean, this is going to go to defense for TSM no matter what. Even if it's 6-0 for DarkZero, TSM will at least have one opportunity to defend, and because of that, their likelihood of winning a round is going to soar. That's just the way that Oregon works. So I suspect that this match will tighten up as we go along, but for right now, DarkZero has not really looked phased on most of those rounds. Laundry came a little bit close and then fell apart really quickly. The dining defense was largely a fight around kitchen, and now on round number 4, back down to Laundry supply room, you see TSM very narrowly escape a situation that could have been the death knell for this round, as Achieved gets away with 20 HP. But again, DarkZero gives up nothing in that altercation.
Oh, he doesn't know how close he was. Mint could have actually gotten a pick there. And he's detected that there is someone in the main lobby. That's the, I believe, the Thatcher of Bolo. Yep. And he's going to be trying to hold split. As the Vigil, the drones won't be able to detect him, but the shots will give away his intentions. Clearly, Bolo heard that, and now Mint will be stuck in this corner, but he's content to wait, I'm sure. He has no incentive to peek out of this, and he'll win the fight as Bolo peeks without his gun ADS. Not the second one, though. Chala will get the refrag. That's important. TSM keep themselves in this round. But that took 2 minutes to clear out those top 2 floors, and DarkZero have got to be feeling mighty comfortable in their sight right now. With only a little bit of time left on the clock, all they need to do is wait. TSM trying to open up the drop downs to get some entry points, and we'll accomplish just that. Looks like it'll be a main lobby freezer take here for TSM, as they don't have time to clear up blue anymore.
And one thing that I want to note is that last time Achieved tried to throw those 2 nades in on a Laundry supply take, he wandered into the plume of smoke to do just that. With how low his HP is right now, he's not going to survive should that happen. Oh. And now Chala's going to be low on HP as well, as Eclipse tosses it up and then levels Merc, looking for another on the stairs as he gets flashed out from the hatch. This is going to be Eclipse right now, showing that the best defense is offense, apparently. Grenade goes down, shotgun out, and he'll be able to finish him off. And there you have it. The flurry of kills with 2 from Hot and Cold. DZ 4-0 on one of the most impressive showings we've seen from this team on a map so far this season.
DarkZero is just playing so dynamically. That play inside of Freezer, for example, what Eclipse just did, is just so uncommon. It's so certain, almost, and odd that it be that. The reason it's odd is 9 times out of 10, in competitive Siege, a mute playing in Freezer, once the drop down gets opened, instead of trying to play off the operator's merits, that's the shotgun and the C4 that Eclipse had at his disposal, most players would simply retreat into the site and try to hold Freezer from deeper insight, and don't let the attackers get through the Freezer door. Shoot them if they get close to the breach that we made. And that's what I'd say 9 out of 10 times. That's what I would see happen at this level. Eclipse, instead, he throws a C4, which, you know, when you've only got a few seconds left in the round, that's, you know, that time that that Chala has to spend running away and then running back, that matters. That's significant. And then instead of falling back after throwing the C4, he realizes, oh, you know what? I got a shotgun and 2 bottlenecks. If I play by the bottom of the staircase, I can force the close engage with anyone who challenges me. And with so little time, I can win this round for my team by simply staying alive at the bottom of the staircase. That on-the-fly thinking from Eclipse, that awareness of the situation, is 10 out of 10.
Eclipse has been around for so long, Michael, that we love to highlight how good he is at fragging and how good he is at just getting kills and all that, but his decision making is something that I think needs to be touted as well. And in this case, I mean, the SAS operators require a decently high level of game knowledge, but I mean, when you've got a shotgun that kills most things with 1 shot and then an SMG-11 that you can use quite effectively at long range, providing you can control its recoil, you do need to juggle those different weapons and understand how that works. And I like that Eclipse didn't give up too much. Now, I think he did technically die at the end, but it didn't really matter because the round was over. So in that instance, the decision-making from Eclipse was largely flawless. Now, this is really brazen. They walk right up to the mirror window, and I think they managed to get it off. There was an impact that seemed to get tossed out from hot and cold, but it misses. You should have clear entry to the B-bomb site now, and Skies will be the one to watch that cross with hot and cold a little bit deeper in the B-bomb site, and presumably has a rotate in a meeting as well, as we are now about halfway through round number 5, and it is a new bomb site from DarkZero. It's going to be meeting instead of dining, but with kitchen being the same.
Well, they had other options here, but I like this. Now, that wall getting opened up by TSM was really big. I'm impressed by how they managed that. Chala's left alone here, which means that nobody is able to capitalize on that air jab detonating. The reason Chala is alone is because TSM have rotated for a tower take. They want to take tower and then pinch between it and cafeteria. Now, it's cool that the Nomad is the one alone because she's going to be able to control the entire area by herself with the air jabs. One of them being spent is costly, though. So less that you have available. An aggressive play once again from Eclipse. Hyper will get a pick. Not sure where, but he manages it. Looks like that's the sledge. Gone. Big kill there. Now, DZ is still in a good spot to hold this out. They don't necessarily need to rush right now, but Skies gets aggressive by the B bomb site and actually gets shut down thanks to the air jab catching him on the rotation. Chala pistol out, needs to reload. C4 will miss. Chala's doing a great job of distracting his opponents and wasting their utility. Geo gets one on meeting as he tries to push it through the breach, and down goes Hyper as he gets too aggressive to Chala, who's still alive on that flank. Clips, beautiful shot onto tower. He's nullified that pressure. Shotgun out. He's going to win this fight. All but certainly. He'll finish off the Zofia, leaving Chala in a 1v1. Low HP and 3 kills in the round. Chala will be a hero if he wins this, but with only 4 seconds left, he has to plant and he has to stick it. 000 and information. Mint can't lose it. DarkZero will take the round, and they confidently put that one up on the score sheet.
I don't even really have the words for what we're seeing right now from DarkZero versus TSM. It really does seem, I mean, yes, I always need to say, well, it's Oregon on defense and they're doing well. But goodness, it does not appear like TSM has showed up for this match today. They started out strong on Cafe. Did those 2 clutches break them? That's the question that I have right now, and I don't have an answer for it. It certainly seems like that. After Hot and Cold's clutch in round 7, TSM have not won a single round. Let that sink in.
That was a while ago too. That was
over an hour and a half ago. Now, mind you, there was the reveal panel in between, but since round 6, their very final defense, and mind you, DZ has been on defense for all of those rounds since. TSM has yet to win a round on attack, period, in this matchup. And they have not now won a round in 10 rounds. 10 consecutive rounds without a victory for TSM. And TSM was leading, as I had also pointed out on that Cafe match, TSM was leading for most of Cafe until they weren't, frankly, and DZ equalized. I don't know what is going on with this TSM team right now. There is something the matter. And it's not just DarkZero shutting them down. Yes, DarkZero is playing a masterful game at the moment, and they are setting a tempo that TSM is unable to match at the moment. I don't think that's up for dispute, but at the same time, there is something wrong with TSM. They are just not showing up in the way that we had expected. They had a rough day yesterday. They have a rough day today. And this is something that smarter people are going to discuss. This game is not over. The series is not over. But it is getting to the point of no return for TSM, and that's when you need to start to worry.
I would make an argument. Oh, Hyper about to be in engagement, whether he knows it or not. Oh no, actually, they're not aware that he's in tower, I guess. But there is an opportunity for Jackal to get this easy free kill. And oh no, Hyper wins it. He shouldn't have, but he did. That is a big kill there for Hyper. We're in a situation right now where the precipice of match point, Hyper should be dead. T3 control should be in favor of TSM. One-man advantage, and they move on to the site execution. But now he's alive, got a kill to boot, and he's continuing to waste the time of TSM. They might have to try for a totally different area. He'll get a second on a different window. Another fight Hyper should have lost. These are disadvantageous fights for Hyper that he is winning right now. He'll hear people coming in below him, and Hyper knows he doesn't need to take that fight. Nades in the hands of Achieved. It's the impacts, though, that will land underneath Hyper from Zofia. Lots of damage done. Here comes the nade. They'll finally get him, but I gotta say, that's certainly worth it for Hyper.
So if you include Geo and Chala dying there, you used 1 frag grenade, 2 Zofia explosives, 1 Zofia concussion, 2 exothermic charges, and 2 smokes were all essentially lost just to get Hyper, plus 2 minutes of the clock. Ugh. That is an absurd amount of utility that was wasted. Now, if TSM can pivot off of that, as they've done some damage to Mint earlier, they've done some damage to Skies. If they can pivot off of that, Michael, and manage to make an execute happen, that will be huge, but they will have to do so without the ability of a hard breacher. So you're going to have to just simply go for gunfights at this point. And given the HP of Mint and Skies, you're more likely to maybe win those, but you're going to have to wade into the Viper's nest in order to do that. Eclipse taking some damage on Repel, and DZ knows that they're somewhat pinned down. Perfect time for a toxic canister to go out, I suppose. There's still 2 more left from Skies to use. Frag grenade waiting for Achieved in a default spot, but it does not connect. There's nobody playing inside of kids' dorms, so Skies will hold off on this deployable shield. Merc is gone to a C4, and DZ's advantage continues to grow. Bolo and Achieved will now need to barrel into the bomb site with 5 seconds left, and Bolo's advance will come from Master over towards Trophy, making a bunch of noise. He swings and gets the kill onto Eclipse, but time runs out. It's a flawless half. 6-0, and we get the hot and clap on our screens. DZ, match point, major point.
Obviously, that round comes down to Hyper. Beautiful play for him inside a T3 of tower. He got way more than anyone has any right to do, or any right to get, I guess. It is unfathomable that Hyper is as successful in T3 as he just was. And yet, it's what happened. So, here we are. Now, one little tidbit, and I'm going to credit it to Jesse, he's the one telling me in my ear right now. TSM has never lost Oregon since the rework. They're 4-0 on this map. Post-Oregon rework, of course. And, well, it looks like it's about to change. Looks like that's gonna be different. This is their map. They wanted to go here. They want to be here. And DarkZero, on the first half, have absolutely clobbered TSM. And you guys, this is it. DarkZero wins 1 more round over the next 6 rounds. And, oh, they're the North American Major Champions.
It's funny because the other day, DarkZero tweeted out about how they're building their new compound in Vegas, and it's going to be one of the most ambitious esports compounds, period. And Canadian tweeted out something about them needing a trophy for the trophy room. Well, they are 1 round away from getting it. And I mean, technically, DarkZero has never won a big series. Yes, this is a team that has been around for ages. Mint and Hot and Cold are two players, Michael, who have been in this scene for half a decade and have yet come up empty-handed so many times. It's wild to think about that DZ now stands about 2-ish minutes away from a glory that has eluded them for nearly 5 years.
Parker, you know what I think it is? You know what I think is making the major difference here for DarkZero? What's allowing them to play this way? I think DarkZero has shifted from relying on the merits of their plan to allowing the plan to further facilitate the merits of their players. That's what I think is going on here. Because DarkZero are playing in such a way that, in my opinion, really shines a light on the talent, the skill that their individual players have. And
Michael, this was a team that squeaked into the major.
Yeah.
Single round against SQ could have meant DZ's absence in this event.
They've changed, clearly, Parker, because they've remained consistently as dominant as they're appearing to be right now through the entire playoffs. It's just been ridiculous. Now, it's not done yet. TSM could win this. It's 5v5 with a minute left on a basement defense, Oregon. This is still very comebackable here for TSM. Defense, Oregon, guys. This is a very defender-sided map, one of the most. So just keep that in your brain.
1 minute left for DZ to be able to pull this one off, and they're going to sit center stage for the remainder of these rounds, as the only way that they relinquish match point is through overtime. And the push from DarkZero will come over towards pillars. TSM has been somewhat shaken off of this position, and Geo will be the very first man to confront the angry rages of DZ. And it might end up being the blitz of Mint, now positioned over by Blue. Time is going to continue to tick away here, and it will be TSM's greatest ally, as DarkZero still on drone, still trying to get intel, achieved as well as Geo trying to swing, and it'll work out effectively. Achieved moves on up, he guns down Hyper. The big question mark is going to be this blitz. There's one for Eclipse, shield knocked away, and it's a match for the ages. And continuing to swing is Geo, while the rest of DZ puts in work. There's Mint. He sees the Mira lined up, and he'll charge towards Merc. He knows that there's two in, and he goes for the flash. Merc completely blind. Mint is the last one down. It's Bolo against Hot and Cold and Eclipse. Gun out, he takes one down, shotgun, and he'll finish the round. Bolo keeps his team's chances alive. Relief for TSM. They win their first round in almost 2 entire maps worth of games played, Michael. This is crazy, but TSM is finally on the board. We'll head into round number 8.
Bolo, a profound breath of fresh air, a splash of cold water on a hot day for TSM. That was so close, too close, far too close. And yes, thank you, Bolo, for giving us more rounds to this fantastic match. But geez, did that still look pretty dominant for DZ. There were a couple moments of hesitation there for DZ before they went for the execute, and that ended up being to DZ's ultimate undoing. Mostly it comes down to, in my opinion, the blue pressure and the lack of information for DarkZero. They weren't sure if there was a crossfire in blue, and thus they couldn't confidently tell Mint, okay, you can go for this play. Okay, you can push here, not worrying about the crossfire. Because remember, blitz is great in a heads-up engagement. If you're taking a blitz in one-on-one, charging right at your enemy, blitz is fantastic for that. But you know what he's not great at? Walking into a crossfire in bunker or blue. So he hesitated. He needed information. They got the information, but it cost DZ 15 to 10 seconds. And those seconds ultimately allowed TSM the freedom to play safer in the site. Great job to TSM. Great job to Bolo for coming up huge for his team. Not only in that round, but look at the scoreboard right now in this whole map.
And somebody who is still, I think, relatively new, we would say,
oh, yeah,
to
certainly.
competitive play. I think it was Pengu who was actually complimenting Bolo and how he was able to thrive as a content creator and then stepping into the spotlight. And I think it's very fair to say that TSM doesn't make it to this matchup against DarkZero without Bolo. And without Bolo is what TSM is going to have to play for the remainder of the 2 minutes and 30 seconds, as he's the opening pick. TSM, unfortunately, well, they're on a collision course and it's in the wrong way. Mint takes a little bit of damage. They're inside a small tower. This is a Dorm's defense from TSM, and DZ's assembled over by small tower, and will look to clear out anybody playing inside of the kitchen meeting hall area. We know that there's a couple there. Achieved is one of them. And you'll watch and wait to see what the anchors are capable of doing. Right now, it looks like Chala's the lone man sitting on site.
Ooh, impact behind Achieved and a stun to boot. You can see that Achieved is very trapped inside a kitchen. He might be able to get some frags as he's not been collapsed upon just yet, but the awareness is in there for DZ. They know what they're dealing with. Oh, wait, have they veered off of the clear in kitchen? Did they not know where he was? It's possible. There is, of course, a mute and a Mozzie in play. It's possible the drones did not get the full information. Nade goes out, so it's possible. I think DZ is aware. They just aren't confident in the clear. They don't want to take the fight too directly, it seems. So, still a chance for TSM as their roamers are persisting inside of security, but there is definitely a lot of manpower ready to take that fight. They got to be worried about Freezer, though, and that rotation actually was bad for Achieved because it means that DZ knows there was someone playing at top Freezer. No potential for a free pick there for the Jaeger, who was already positioned there.
Final minute of action between these two teams, and TSM has weathered this storm quite effectively. They take down Skies and put them back at an even man count as the sprint from DZ happens right in front of our eyes. Hyper falls, and Mint on 1 HP as he's inside of Kids' dorms with Hibana in tow. Likely trying to protect as Hot and Cold will need to go for the plant, but it's Hot and Cold all alone. 1v4, TSM, they fire back quite effectively, bearing 9 in hand, but only one will get taken down by Hot and Cold. The comeback beginning to happen in front of our eyes for TSM. They've got a long road to walk, but they're at least hoofing it for now. 2 in a row on defense for TSM.
There was a crucial moment in that round that was the, I think, catalyst to success for TSM. And that moment was where DarkZero opted not to fully clear out downstairs. They could have probably pushed in between meeting and kitchen door, collapsed into kitchen, killed the Mozzie, the Vigil, and maybe, yeah, they maybe would have lost a player or two in that endeavor. But that would have given them a level of assurity when making the play into the site. The reason they needed to clear out below was a few things. It's the C4 from below, of course, but it's also that angle from below the big window in security that denies the vault in. Now, oh, yeah, some attackers did get through that angle, despite TSM having control, but it put the Blitz on low HP, so he was not very malleable in future engagements. He died to a single bullet from the Vigil, and DZ started to fall like flies as soon as they decided to go for the site take, because they hadn't fully cleared out below. There were too many other angles to deal with, too many places where there was a TSM player putting in 1 bullet, 2 bullets on each of the players on DZ. Death by 1,000 cuts in the end, and TSM keep themselves just barely in it. It's just barely, though, really. Again, DarkZero could at any moment lock this out. 4 more rounds for TSM before they get to that OT.
This is, I almost get the feeling that this isn't over anywhere near as soon as we think it's going to be.
I hope not. This is a really good match.
This is giving me that jittery feeling where it feels like TSM is going to go on just a miracle run right now. And we're going to say, no way. I don't think people understand the odds, though. DZ just won 6 rounds in a row, and they swept the half. That doesn't happen all that often.
No.
Oh, my goodness! What? Oh. Hyper through the wall onto Merc, and he very narrowly could have gotten another as well onto Bolo, who gets out of there as he's going to be rubbing that lucky rabbit's foot. My goodness, the luck on Bolo. He's under fire now inside of dorms. The setup from TSM is going to have to only be half done. And finished off from the back now. Bolo's down as DarkZero jumps out to a huge lead here. An answer back, though, from Achieved, but he's finished off. DarkZero up 4v2. It's Chala and Geo just to try and hold this down on a meeting hall defense. This is not where you want to be if you are TSM. Still 1 minute and 40 seconds left, Michael.
This is certainly favored to DZ, but we've seen heroics before. The one thing that is scary for TSM right now is that Mint is on Blitz. Mint has historically, I think, been, if not the best Blitz player in the world, one of, certainly. And it's really hard when you have low manpower to deal with the shield operator. Yes, they have the gas canisters on Chala, but that's just too situational. The lack of crossfires are going to give so much freedom to Mint. He will be able to force one of these engagements in all likelihood, and he should be able to lock this out almost by himself. And that's not even counting the overall man advantage right now. It's scary for Chala and Geo.
I've said weathered this storm, I think 3 times so far today. This is the storm before the storm at this point. No calm at all, especially not with DZ still having tons of firepower at their disposal. And trying to chip away at the advantage that they have with TSM, knowing how dire these circumstances are. The world around Chala literally collapsing as he might wander into Mint's open arms. He peeks around the doorway the wrong way. He's as good as dead. 25 HP is all he'll get away with, and he'll walk wounded for the remainder. But he's down. It's just Geo in a 1v4. This is the match on the line. This is the championship on the line. Can Geo pull off one of the greatest 1v4 clutches that we've ever seen? Good trigger discipline. He'll need to drop, and he does so. He sees the blitz drawing all of the fire away. Diffuser goes down successfully. The odds of him winning getting even harder. He's flashed, and DarkZero turns the lights out on TSM as DZ are your North American major champions.
Massive win there for DarkZero. Congratulations to them. An absolute trouncing. Not much competition put up there from TSM. And partially, sure, I think TSM had a rough match. Yeah, after those 2 clutches, they seemed to maybe fall asleep a little bit. But certainly, DarkZero played a better game